Have you ever felt that strange stillness inside, like something is missing, yet you can't name what it is? Even when life seems perfect, why does an invisible emptiness still echo within us? And the biggest question of all, are we here by chance or for a reason far greater than we know? Chapter 1. The Universal Question, a search that unites us all. Have you ever experienced it? That quiet, unsettling sensation that creeps in, not quite sadness, not exactly loneliness, more like a strange, hollow pause. A gap between what your life looks like on the outside and what your heart whispers it could be. It might strike unexpectedly, on your drive home after a seemingly good day at work, or as you scroll through endless photos of other people's picture-perfect lives on social media. And suddenly, it's there. That unshakable feeling of emptiness, even when nothing appears to be wrong. This isn't just your feeling. It's not just mine. It's something profoundly human. A question that's echoed across generations, cultures, and minds. Why? Why do we exist? Why are we alive? What is the point of all this? This is not just a philosopher's puzzle or a monk's meditation. It's the midnight whisper that pulls us from sleep, the unspoken thought behind our restless scrolling, the silence behind our smiles. If we look even deeper, we come to a broader, more cosmic question. Why do humans exist at all? Is our presence on Earth a random fluke? Were we born out of a chance collision of particles that, against all odds, gave rise to conscious beings, us, capable of questioning their very existence? Or is there a purpose, a grand design that we are unknowingly a part of? Science offers one idea, the anthropic principle, suggesting that the universe's physical constants are so precisely calibrated, so delicately balanced, that the smallest deviation would make life impossible. Gravity, electrons, atoms, all aligned perfectly. Does that hint at intentional design? Or is it simply a reflection of our limited understanding of an unimaginably vast universe? Buddhism offers a radically different perspective. When Siddhartha Gautama, the man who would become the Buddha, was confronted with this very question, he responded not with theories, but with clarity. The beginning point is not evident, he said. Rather than being consumed by the unknowable, he turned toward what we can know, the reality of suffering and the path that leads beyond it. Siddhartha was not born a seeker. He was born a prince, surrounded by wealth, refinement, pleasure. Everything most people spend their lives chasing was handed to him from birth, yet he saw through it. He reflected, I lived in refinement, utmost refinement, yet I thought, this is not the way to freedom. Even in luxury, he felt the same hollowness that so many of us do. A gnawing dissatisfaction, a realization that even the most lavish life could not protect him from aging, sickness, and death, and that no amount of pleasure could silence the deeper longing for something more meaningful. This realization wasn't a failure. It wasn't weakness. It was clarity. Modern psychology backs this up. Studies on the hedonic treadmill show that beyond meeting our basic needs, more wealth doesn't lead to more happiness. We get used to the new car, the bigger house, the dream vacation, and then we crave something else. The cycle repeats. The emptiness remains. For Siddhartha, this discomfort sparked something life-changing. He left everything behind, the palace, the pleasures, the certainty. He ventured into the unknown. For 6 long years, he practiced extreme austerities, nearly to the point of death. He denied himself food, sleep, comfort, anything that might distract him from his quest for truth. But the answer didn't lie in extremes. Eventually, he found what he called the middle way, a path of balance, a path not of denial or indulgence, but of deep understanding. He sat beneath the Bodhi tree, and there, through clarity, not escape, he awakened. Interestingly, even modern neuroscience shows that extreme physical practices like fasting or sleep deprivation might alter our mental state, but rarely lead to lasting transformation. The Buddha discovered that true insight doesn't come from fleeing life, but from meeting it directly, with awareness, compassion, and wisdom. He wasn't trying to escape reality, he was trying to understand it. Chapter 2: The Precious Human Life, a Rare Window to Awakening. In the previous chapter, we asked some of life's biggest questions about our existence, our suffering, and the purpose behind it all. Now, let's turn inward and explore something deeply personal: the incredible value of this human life we are living right now. When we gaze up at the vast night sky or contemplate the infinite stretch of the cosmos, it's easy to feel insignificant. In the grand timeline of the universe, our time here seems like a blink, brief and fragile. But Buddhism offers a perspective that turns this feeling on its head. Rather than making us feel small, the Dharma teaches us to feel grateful, to see our existence not as meaningless, but as rare, fleeting, and profoundly precious. In Buddhist cosmology, life isn't seen as a straight line from birth to death. It's cyclical, an ongoing flow of rebirths through countless lifetimes and countless realms. These realms include heavenly states filled with pleasure and bliss, as well as lower realms filled with pain and confusion. But in this vast cycle, a human birth is regarded as one of the rarest and most meaningful opportunities. To grasp just how rare it is, the Buddha offered a striking image. Imagine a vast, endless ocean. Floating somewhere on the surface is a single golden ring. Now imagine a blind turtle who rises to the surface just once every 100 years. The chance that it pokes its head through that ring is about the same as the chance of being born as a human being. Let that sink in. Out of all possible forms of life and all the realms of existence, you are here, now, born human. Not by accident, but through conditions that are both rare and powerful. But it's not just the rarity that matters. It's the opportunity this human life brings. Unlike in realms of constant bliss, where beings may become lost in pleasure, or realms of constant suffering, where pain overwhelms awareness, the human realm holds a delicate balance. Here, we know joy, but also sorrow. We taste pleasure, but also pain. And it's this unique blend of experiences that makes the human condition ideal for awakening. Why? Because we are capable of reflection. We can question. We can learn. We can choose. The Buddha once said, "Hard to obtain is the opportunity to hear the true Dharma." And how true that is. The teachings exist, but not everyone hears them. Even fewer understand them, and fewer still put them into practice. Having a human life and encountering the Dharma is an exceedingly rare combination, a doorway to liberation that only a few ever walk through. Even from a scientific view, the odds of you existing are mind-bending. Think of the billions of years of cosmic evolution, the exact conditions needed for life on Earth, the intricate development of consciousness, and the birth of a brain capable of self-awareness. Your prefrontal cortex allows something extraordinary. You can think about your thinking. This ability, known as metacognition, sets humans apart. We can observe our own thoughts, question our habits, examine our suffering, and seek truth. Buddhism doesn't explain rebirth as a soul traveling from one body to another. Instead, it's more like a river, always moving, always changing, never the same, yet still recognizably a river. There's continuity, but no fixed self that moves from life to life. As the Buddha said, this birth is due to that birth. There is causality, but no permanent identity being passed along. Think of it like energy, never destroyed, only transformed. In Buddhism, what carries forward is not a soul, but karma, the energy of our intentions, actions, and thoughts. Like seeds planted in soil, these karmic imprints shape the conditions of future existence. They don't vanish, they evolve. And just like a seed needs the right conditions to sprout, our karma shapes where and how we are reborn. It's not punishment, it's not reward, it's cause and effect. So, what does this mean for us now? Even a basic understanding of rebirth shifts how we see the world. It makes our actions feel weightier, more meaningful. It encourages responsibility, not just for our own well-being, but for the impact we have on others. We are part of a web of causes and effects that stretch far beyond what we can see. And what about this human life? Is it a blessing or a burden? It's both. It's a paradox. Our ability to think, to reflect, to choose. It's the source of our deepest suffering and our highest potential. We can create immense beauty, art, kindness, insight, and also terrible pain. But it is precisely this capacity that the Buddha emphasized. The human mind is the source of all achievements, he taught. To be human is not to be punished. It is to be entrusted with the chance to awaken, to see clearly, to break free, to become truly happy, not in a fleeting sense, but in the deepest, most unshakable way. Only humans can do this, only now. Chapter 3. Why we suffer and feel. Understanding the storm within. In the last chapter, we discovered how rare and precious it is to be born human, and with that, the unique opportunity we have to awaken. But before we can walk the path toward freedom, we must understand what holds us back. And that begins with one essential question: why do we suffer? As human beings, we feel, constantly, intensely. We experience a rich spectrum of emotions: joy, sorrow, anger, fear, hope, love, jealousy, longing. They rise and fall like waves crashing onto the shore of our awareness, moment by moment. They shape the colors of our world and paint meaning onto every experience. But why are emotions such a dominant force in our lives? From an evolutionary point of view, emotions are practical tools. They evolved to help us survive. Fear warns us of danger. Anger energizes us to defend ourselves or correct injustices. Love connects us with others, forming the bonds needed for community and survival. They act as signals, biological alerts, designed to steer our behavior and help us navigate complex social environments. Yet Buddhism invites us to look even deeper, to go beyond the biology and into the heart of our direct experience. Rather than seeing emotions as mere survival tools, the Buddha saw them as messengers, transient visitors that bring us important information. But too often, we mistake the messenger for the message. We react impulsively without understanding. We let our emotions drive us, rather than pausing to listen and see what they're truly pointing to. The Buddha famously said that feelings are mere messengers, not masters. He never taught that emotions should be suppressed or ignored. Instead, he urged us to become curious, to observe them closely, to understand that emotions, like everything else in life, are impermanent. They come, they go, just like waves in the ocean. No matter how big the wave, it eventually fades back into stillness. Interestingly, modern neuroscience aligns with this insight. Emotions are predictive tools. The brain constantly anticipates what might happen next based on past experience. These predictions help us respond quickly to threats or opportunities. But emotions themselves are not inherently good or bad. They are signals. They are data, not destiny. How we relate to them determines whether they lead to suffering or growth. Which brings us to the deeper question: what is suffering? Suffering isn't just about physical pain or emotional discomfort. Those are parts of life that we cannot avoid. Illness, loss, heartbreak, aging. They are inevitable. But suffering, in the Buddhist sense, goes beyond pain. Suffering is what arises when we resist pain, when we cling to pleasure, when we get caught in an endless loop of reacting to every thought and emotion as if it were permanent and personal. The Buddha described it with poetic precision. Suffering follows an unwholesome thought as the wheel follows the foot of the ox. The thought itself isn't the root of suffering. It's our attachment to it, our identification with it. That's where the wheel begins to turn, and the cycle of suffering continues. He outlined 3 main types of suffering. 1. Obvious suffering, physical and mental pain, such as illness, injury, sadness, or fear. 2. Suffering from change. Even when we enjoy something, it eventually ends. That loss brings a subtle ache. 3. Existential suffering, the most subtle kind, rooted in the impermanence of all things. Even if everything seems perfect, nothing stays that way. Everything changes. That uncertainty can quietly disturb us. Think about it. We often chase things believing they will finally make us happy. A better house, a dream job, a loving partner. But once we get them, the joy fades. Satisfaction slips through our fingers like water through a sieve. We are like someone trying to fill a cup with a hole at the bottom. The Buddha's message wasn't to deny suffering or pretend it doesn't exist. It was the opposite. He urged us to look closely at its cause, and he named it clearly: craving. The craving for pleasure, the craving for continued existence, even the craving for non-existence. These cravings trap us in a loop of dissatisfaction, always reaching, never arriving. And at the heart of this loop lies something even more elusive: the self. The solid I that we defend, protect, and try to satisfy. Buddhism teaches that this self we cling to is in fact an illusion. It's not that we don't exist, but that what we take ourselves to be isn't what we truly are. Trying to grasp a permanent self is like trying to hold on to water. It slips through no matter how tightly we clench our fists. The Buddha pointed to this directly. In what is seen, there is only the seen. This means that our experience is not evidence of a fixed observer or soul behind it all. Instead, it is just a stream of sights, sounds, sensations, constantly changing moment to moment. It's a radical understanding, and one that doesn't come overnight. It takes time, patience, and deep introspection. But once glimpsed, even briefly, it opens the door to a freedom far beyond what we imagined possible. Chapter 4. The Simple Answer. Why we live. In the last chapter, we explored the roots of suffering, how craving, clinging, and a mistaken sense of self keep us trapped. But now, a powerful question rises naturally from that understanding. If suffering exists, why do we live? What's the point of it all? After all the questioning, the searching, and the truths we've uncovered about impermanence and emotional turbulence, we're left standing at the threshold of something essential. So what did the Buddha actually say about the meaning of life? Why are we here? The answer is beautifully simple, and yet it carries profound depth. We live to end suffering, and we live to find true and lasting happiness. That's it. That is the heart of the Buddha's teaching. Not a cosmic mission, not a mystical secret. Just this: the potential for liberation, the possibility of awakening. The Buddha put it this way: just as the great ocean has but one taste, the taste of salt, so too my teaching has but one taste, the taste of freedom. Freedom from suffering, freedom from the endless loop of desire, dissatisfaction, and delusion. That might sound almost too simple, maybe even disappointing. After such deep discussions about the mind, rebirth, and the illusions of self, can the purpose of life really be that straightforward? Yes and no. Because this simplicity is not shallow. It's the simplicity of truth. The kind of truth that often gets buried beneath layers of overthinking, philosophy, and distraction. It's not about fulfilling a destiny written by some external force. It's not about reaching a final destination handed down by the universe. It's about waking up, right here, right now, to your experience, to your mind, to your life. The word Buddha doesn't mean a divine being. It means awakened one. It's not a title, it's a realization, a state of being, a clear seeing of reality as it is. And here's the surprising part. This awakening is available to all of us. It's not reserved for monks or saints. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about recognizing what you already are underneath all the noise. The path to this awakening isn't mystical, it's practical. It starts with understanding your own mind, how thoughts arise, how emotions move through you, how suffering is created not by events, but by your relationship to them. One of the Buddha's most essential insights was the teaching of dependent origination, pratyasamutpada. It's a deep but elegant explanation of how suffering arises. Think of it like a chain, one link connected to the next. It begins with ignorance, a basic misunderstanding of the nature of reality. That ignorance leads to craving, grasping for things to satisfy a false sense of self. Craving leads to attachment, and attachment leads to suffering. But here's the liberating part. If we see the chain, we can break it. Understanding the process gives us power. We start to loosen the grip of craving. We begin to recognize how and where we're feeding our own dissatisfaction. And in that awareness, we find space. Space to choose differently, to respond with wisdom instead of reactivity. It's not about pushing emotions away. It's not about numbing ourselves or detaching from the world. It's about relating to our emotions differently, seeing them as guides, not gods, teachers, not tyrants. The Buddha's approach to emotion was groundbreaking. He didn't say, "Don't feel." He said, "Feel with awareness. Be present. Don't judge. Just see clearly." He taught, "Do not pursue the past. Do not lose yourself in the future. The past no longer is. The future has not yet come. Look deeply at life in the here and now, and you will find stability and freedom. We're not here to run from suffering. We're here to transform it. Like the lotus flower that blooms from muddy water, our beauty and awakening can arise from the very challenges we face. In Buddhism, the mud is not the enemy. It's the condition that gives rise to the flower. The Buddha said, "I do not teach the suffering of suffering, but suffering and the end of suffering." he didn't just name the problem. He gave a path, a method, a way forward. And this path leads to a happiness unlike anything the world can offer. It's not the fragile happiness that depends on external things. It's not the quick high of temporary pleasure. It's a deeper, quieter joy that comes from the inside, from freedom, from understanding, from compassion. The Buddha taught 4 mental states that form the foundation of this joy: loving kindness, metta; compassion, karuna; sympathetic joy, mudita; equanimity, upekkha. These are not just poetic ideas, they're practices, powerful tools that can reshape how we think, how we relate to others, and how we show up in the world. And here's the beautiful twist. True freedom isn't found in isolation. It's found in connection, serving others, helping others, loving others. These are not burdens. They are pathways to our own liberation. Chapter 5. Living a complete human life, awakening in the everyday. In the last chapter, we uncovered a powerful truth. We live to awaken, to end suffering, and to realize true happiness, not in some distant realm, but here, in this very life. But that insight leads to a deeper, more personal question. Where exactly is this freedom? Where is this awakening we seek? Is it hidden in a temple on a remote mountain, found only after years of meditation, or only for those who renounce the world completely? The Buddha's answer was radical, direct, and liberating. It's here, now, not in the distant future, not in some heavenly realm, but in this very moment, in this very breath, in the simplicity of our daily lives. Nirvana, the state of liberation, is not a place we travel to. It's not a mystical reward at the end of a spiritual journey. It's a shift in perception, a way of being, a way of seeing. It's how we relate to everything, our minds, our emotions, the world around us. The Buddha taught, the mind is the forerunner of all things, which means that the quality of our mind, how we think, how we perceive, shapes the quality of our life. If our mind is clouded by craving, by aversion, by delusion, we suffer. But if our mind is grounded in wisdom, in compassion, in clarity, we find peace. We find freedom. And that transformation doesn't require changing the world out there. It requires changing how we relate to the world in here, in our own mind and heart. So how do we live this kind of life? How do we begin to awaken within the flow of our everyday routines? It begins with something beautifully simple. Mindfulness. Being present, paying attention, living with awareness. The Buddha's teaching on mindfulness wasn't about escaping to a mountaintop or shutting out the world. It was entirely practical. He said, when walking, know you are walking. When eating, know you are eating. It sounds almost too simple, but in that simplicity lies something deeply transformative. Because most of us spend our days on autopilot, rushing from one task to the next, lost in regrets of the past or worries about the future. Mindfulness brings us back to this moment, to the only place life is truly happening, now. And science supports this ancient wisdom. Modern research shows that even a few minutes of mindfulness each day can reshape the brain. It strengthens areas linked to attention, emotional regulation, and well-being. It even enhances immune function. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of breathing, of feeling the body, of listening without judgment, not to fix anything, not to change anything, but simply to be awake, alive, aware. When practiced regularly, mindfulness helps us discover meaning not in grand achievements, but in the ordinary. Washing the dishes becomes an act of presence. Eating becomes a meditation. Walking becomes a journey into awareness. This is what it means to live a complete human life, to fully inhabit each moment, to embrace the small sacredness of daily existence, and to stop sleepwalking through this rare opportunity of being alive. It also means working with our emotions, not against them. We don't need to suppress them or indulge them. We learn to meet them honestly, gently, like we would a teacher at our door. This is the essence of the middle way. Acknowledging our feelings without letting them carry us away. Letting them arise, letting them be, letting them pass, like waves in the ocean. And what about suffering? Even suffering can be transformed. There's a powerful Tibetan practice called Tonglen, breathing in the suffering of others and breathing out compassion and peace. It sounds counterintuitive, even impossible, but the effect is profound. It opens the heart. It reminds us that we are all connected, and it shows us that even pain can be a path to love. Your hardest days, your most painful experiences, they don't have to break you. They can shape you into someone wiser, someone deeper, someone more compassionate. To live a complete human life is to recognize how rare this opportunity is and to use it wisely. It's to develop the qualities that support awakening: ethical living, mindfulness, and wisdom. Like the three legs of a stool, they hold each other up. And in the Buddha's final words, we hear the essence of the path. Be a light unto yourself. Don't follow blindly. Don't wait for someone else to save you. Trust your own capacity to awaken. Let your direct experience be your guide, because in the end, the answer isn't something we have to find. It's something we already hold within. It's something we simply need to recognize. If this message resonates with you, we invite you to support the journey. Subscribe to Buddhism Seeds, like this video, and share it with someone who might need this today. And please, let us know in the comments, what moment recently reminded you to be fully present?